is an environmental health overview for MRC volunteers, and our presenter is Courtney Thomas from Greater Health District. We're going to have first Mike Magner, who is our state MRC coordinator, is going to introduce Courtney. Mike?
Hey, I was about to say good morning, but good evening, everyone. Thank you, Kate, for that introduction. So as you mentioned, I'm the state coordinator for the Virginia MRC, and I'm really excited to present our guest presenter tonight. Our guest presenter is Courtney Thomas. She is the environmental health supervisor for the Greater Health District. Courtney graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Christopher Newport University and has volunteered as an EMT for the Isle of Wight Rescue Squad for 8 years. She's also worked for the city of Portsmouth as a mosquito control biologist, and she began working for VDH in 2016 as environmental health specialist, and has been with VDH for 9 years, and 4 of those years being in the environmental health supervisor role. So a very knowledgeable presenter, giving us a presentation tonight on the topic of environmental health and what that means for public health in Virginia. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Mike. All right, good evening, everyone. Like Mike said, I'm Courtney Thomas, the Environmental Health Supervisor for the Greater Health District. I just want to give a special thank you to Robin Burrow with the Greater EPNR team for inviting me on here to talk to you all today. I'm excited to be here and talk about environmental health. So the training objectives tonight, we're going to learn about environmental health and what we do, environmental health's role during disaster responses, unique environmental health hazards that can occur during natural disasters, the type of imminent health hazard responses, and what you can do as MRC volunteers when faced with an environmental health hazard. So what is environmental health? Most people, when they think of the health department, they think of nurses, the clinic, WIC, and some type of communicable disease. But environmental health also plays a key role in the health department, and we are a key program. Our mission is to protect public health and the environment by preventing the spread of disease through food, milk, water, sewage, shellfish, animals, and general sanitation. So we cover quite a bit in our roles. So just to give you a little history on environmental health, we can date environmental health back to 1610 in the Jamestown Settlement, where the first sanitation law was presented during colonial times. That law observed a setback distance from pollution sources to drinking water wells for the colony. It required a quarter-mile distance from where you did your business and where you got your water to drink. Now we're going to get into some of our programs that we do now. We have the food program. We do periodic inspections of restaurants, schools, daycares, adult daycares, continental breakfast stations that you see in hotels, temporary food events such as your carnivals and state fairs. We also do food trucks, summer food program, and we also do any place where food is prepared, sold, or given away to the public. We do conduct plan reviews for new facilities, and we work with local officials, including building, zoning, fire, police, for new facilities, incidents, and abatement. We also respond to complaints, foodborne illness outbreaks, and imminent health hazards that may arise in these type of establishments. One of our other major programs is the on-site program. This involves both private well and septic. So we review and issue permits for those wells and septic systems. We conduct soil evaluations to determine suitable sites for on-site septic systems. We respond to sewage complaints, and we also provide consultations to citizens and private sector contractors in regards to the on-site regulations. We also do rabies. So our rabies program, we mainly focus on the abatement of the spread of rabies. We investigate bites, scratches, fluid exposure to humans and domestic animals from other domestic animals and wildlife. We also quarantine and release those domestic animals. We prepare samples for lab testing, and we also work closely with animal control and district communicable disease teams. The tourist establishment program, where we conduct inspections on hotels, motels, campgrounds. We respond to complaints at those type of tourist establishments, and we ensure facilities are safe for transient use. Migrant labor camps. A lot of people don't know that migrant labor camps even exist, but that is also another program we do. We ensure the safe and adequate facilities for H-2A workers. Those are workers that come into the country with an H-2A visa to work at certain places. We inspect those camps and issue permits to the camp operators, and we work closely with Virginia Works to ensure camps are compliant with OSHA or ETA housing standards. OSHA standing for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and ETA stands for the Employment and Training Administration. We also do marinas, so we ensure sewage from recreational boaters are disposed properly and that disposal facilities are adequate. We also conduct annual inspections of those marinas. So getting into what we are going to be discussing tonight. So we do emergency planning and response. Environmental health plays a broad role in emergency response, whether it's logistics, inspecting and ensuring safe shelters for the public, or traffic control at a medicine dispensing site. We pretty much go wherever we are needed, very similar to MRC volunteers. All right, so what are environmental health hazards? Different hazards could be a facility fire, extended power outages, flooding, water outages or loss, drinking water contamination, or contamination of recreational waters. We also call them imminent health hazards due to their high threat to public health and safety. Many of the disaster responses you all may be involved in coincide with most, if not all, of our imminent health hazards that we must respond to when they arise. Natural disasters such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods can damage on-site septic systems and private wells, making them fail or rendering them non-operational. So what is a imminent health hazard? So our regulations define an imminent health hazard as a significant threat or danger to health that is considered to exist when there's evidence sufficient to show that a product, practice, circumstance, or event creates a situation that requires immediate correction or cessation of operation to prevent injury based on the number of potential injuries and the nature, severity, and duration of the anticipated injury. So we may suspend the permit to operate in some of our facilities if a imminent health hazard exists. So we will go through a few situations that may require both an emergency response from MRC and environmental health. So please feel free to join in. I'm going to be we're going to be going over some imminent health hazards that I've come across, and just get your ideas on what we are looking at when we see these type of things occur. So for instance, this picture, it's a house that has been completely demolished by a hurricane. A tree fell on it. So what are some of the hazards that can arise from this? And I can't see chat, so if Kate or someone could let me know if there's any responses, that'd be great.
Yeah, bodies, wastewater.
Right, absolutely. Bodies, wastewater, definitely wastewater. So from an environmental health standpoint, that is one of the first things that we're concerned about is wastewater. Sewage could be leaking out from that trailer or mobile home, contaminating groundwater. So what would be some of the type of responses that MRC would have during a hurricane or tornado?
Help with shelters.
Right, so we're helping with shelters, and that's something that environmental health would do as well. Assisting these, displaced homeowners, and giving them the assistance they need, finding family members. Absolutely.
Yep, informing people, assessment of risks. Yeah, those are all.
Yeah. Absolutely. So in this situation, a situation like this, there will be multiple agencies on scene responding to different public health impacts. And I can definitely say that either MRC and especially EH will be out here in this type of incidents. Water distribution, right. Okay, I can see them popping up, so that helps. All right, so here's another situation that has come up. We have a boat that has sunk at a marina. So what would be the potential hazard here? See, health with injuries. Yes, there could be potential. Well, yes, fuel release, leaking fuel, chemical spills, drowning, fuel leak. Absolutely. So one of our main issues, or one of the things that we were really focused on, was the fuel leak. And someone said sewage leak. Absolutely. So when we are dealing with marinas, we definitely want to make sure that there is the safe disposal of sewage. And in an instance like this, where there is a boat that has started sinking in a marina, that is, definitely an issue that will come up. So something like this may require what we call PREP. And PREP is a local team to respond to pollution releases. PREP stands for Pollution Response Program, and it's headed by DEQ, or the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality. The PREP team usually consists of the EH manager, the local health emergency coordinator, our public information officer, and the health director. When an imminent health hazard is present or likely to be present in recreational water, such as, right here in a marina, this team will come together to provide timely information to the public and assist with efforts to mitigate public health impacts. So this is, something that can arise. Might not be something that MRC would actually respond to, but this is definitely an imminent health hazard that EH would respond to. So this is I'm just going to give you guys kind of like a a backstory of this. So this is actually raw or partially treated sewage that's running downhill from a private residence, and it's going directly to a storm drain and beach. So what would be some of the impacts here? Fish kill, absolutely. Sewage goes into the watershed, yes. So this actually effect on water quality, absolutely. So this actually led to a hazmat emergency response from this locality. There was coordinated efforts with both building officials and the emergency coordinator. The beach was closed, and that house that was leaking the sewage was its certificate of occupancy was suspended until the repairs to the septic system could be made. So again, maybe not something that MRC would respond to per se, but knowing about these potential hazards are important because these type of issues could arise when responding to natural disasters such as hurricanes or tornadoes, especially in your rural areas where a private on-site septic system is present. So this was a kitchen fire. So what would be some of the potential hazards here? So this is a nursing home kitchen fire. The kitchen was a complete and total loss here. Air contamination, leaking fluids, absolutely. Fire department products contaminate. Toxic gases, gas fumes, gas leak. Absolutely. Smoke. Yeah. So we're looking at, the possible impact of the residents, these elderly people that are, just trying to get a meal and, their entire kitchen goes up in flames, all because of this fryer that was not properly, it wasn't rated for what they were trying to use it for. They were trying to fry some fish. And as soon as they plugged this fryer in, it was game over. So this was a coordinated effort with fire officials and the building official. Fortunately, even though they had to throw away all the food, there was nothing that could be salvaged from this fire. They had a sister facility nearby that was close enough to transport meals for the residents until the kitchen could be prepared. But, what if that wasn't a possibility? You could be looking at the displacement of a lot of elderly people from this nursing home. So thankfully, it was only contained to that kitchen and didn't go any further. But the kitchen itself was a total loss. Okay, so I'm gonna have to explain this one just a little bit. So this is actually, if you look on the left side picture, there is a black pipe hanging from a cliff. That actually used to be a septic system, drain field. So heavy rains, possibly a hurricane, led to erosion, causing this drain field to plummet all the way to the beach shore. So what would be some potential hazards here? Toxic liquids into fresh water, absolutely. Where did so the septic tank was still on the property. It was just the drain field that was impacted by the landslide. Yes, sewage exposure, sewage contamination. Yes, absolutely. So we have potential sewage contaminating the recreational water below. So hurricanes can cause tremendous damage to septic systems. Heavy rainfall can saturate and waterlog the drain field. When this occurs, the drain field can no longer absorb the wastewater, leading to backups in the home or pooling of sewage on the ground surface. In this case, a landslide that caused the drain field to completely wash away. Septic tanks can shift, float, or crack during major flooding. For instance, a concrete tank can crack under the pressure from the flood waters, and a plastic septic tank may float upward. So leading to a lot of issues. Overflowing septic systems can leak raw sewage into the ground, contaminated groundwater, and nearby wells and waterways. Always have to look out for the potential of sewage contamination and groundwater contamination. Okay, so it's not just homes and restaurants that could be subjected to an imminent health hazard, but office buildings as well. So in this picture, there was a office building where the toilets were flooding frequently. Eventually, they contacted a plumbing company, and it was discovered that the office building was not properly connected to public sewer. So we have sewage, overflowing in the toilets, and then we have sewage running down into the basement, which is what you see on the right picture. So this imminent health hazard, we're looking at coordinating with the county and county officials, hepatitis shots for employees, possibly if they came in contact with that sewage. So we had to, coordinate with county officials and HRSD on the best response to fix the issue and prevent further threats to public health. But also, as environmental health, we not only look at the present issue, but how can this particular issue further impact the environment and the surrounding public? So, when we see this, we're not just looking at, oh, it's an office building that is, disconnected from sewage, but how is it impacting the rest of the residents that are nearby or around this office building? How is it impacting groundwater? How is it are we close to a recreational water where this sewage can, potentially get into? So we're looking at the bigger, broader picture when it comes to environmental health. All right, so a little history about one of the communities in our district. So back in 2003, there was a Hurricane Isabel. So Hurricane Isabel leveled more than 100 homes in the town of Claremont and Sunken Meadow. The septic systems and wells were damaged from the storm. FEMA had to come in and help with cleanup and assisting residents. I mean, everyone lost, everything. All the homes were leveled. Boats were, found in the middle of the street. Sewage systems were non-existent anymore. And so there was a lot of community response and repair that needs to be done. And one of the things that was required for the town was to install a public sewer system. So a lot of the homes on Claremont Beach now once had, their own private septic system. They were forced to be put on a public sewer system due to the loss of their house and their septic systems. So this might have been something that MRC had responded to during Hurricane Isabel, but it was also a huge issue, environmental health issue, where We had to think about the groundwater contamination, sewage systems that were lost and possibly in the James River now. So there was a lot of issues that arose from this situation, this hurricane, and it just shows, just how impactful a natural disaster can be to the environment and what we do. Similar situation in Alexandria about 15 plus years ago. Yeah, so it happens, and so we have to always be on the lookout for these potential hazards. And so that leads me to, what can MRC do when they are responding? And maybe, just maybe, environmental health had no knowledge of what other impacts were present when y'all responded. So what can MRC do? So if you see something, say something. So be observant of those musty or foul odors similar to ammonia or rotten eggs. That's a clear sign of sewage leaking out. In rural areas, be mindful that there are private wells, and overly saturated areas in the yard from flooding could also impact that drain field or septic tank. Damaged homes can lead to groundwater or drinking water supply contamination. And know who to call when you observe environmental health hazards during your response. So just being cognizant of, what area you're in and which health department you can reach out to, their environmental health program, to report these type of observations that you see out in the field. And that is all I had. Is there any questions?